Nittany Lions, led by football's Father Time, who's won more bowl games than any other. And the Tigers of Auburn, whose young Bowden is ecstatic about a new era and his first appearance at what he hopes to be many more. And for those who cry War Eagle, 3 years of what may have been. Now career record holder Stephen Davis and Patrick Nix. This day they won't have to watch, but will end their careers playing on New Year's Day. For Penn State, the blue and white are exactly where they're accustomed to being, playing on the first of the year, led by yet another Lion King, Bobby Ingram. This morning, it's the dawn of college football's most explosive and exhilarating day of the year. Tampa Stadium, Tampa, Florida. It is number 15 against number 16. The Penn State Nittany Lions taking on the Tigers of Auburn of the Southeastern Conference. For the head man of Penn State, 26 times he has been to bowls now, Joe Paterno. And for Terry Bowden, it is his first trip. Hi, everybody. Ron Franklin along with Mike Gottfried, and Happy New Year to you. Mike, Happy New Year to you. We were going to come on this telecast talking about how very important pace was going to be in this ball game because Auburn wanted to get it up and down the field. In fact, in basketball parlance, they wanted it to be a full court game. But Mike, Mother Nature has provided something that I'm not sure Terry Bowden is excited about. We've had heavy rain all morning.
And Ron, turnovers could be a big factor, could decide this football game. But Terry Bowden wanted a fast-paced game, wanted to play 4 wide receivers and put the game in Patrick Nix's hands and really try to challenge the zone defense of Penn State. But now I think what he may have to change it a little bit and go to Stephen Davis a little bit more, his strong tailback, and run the football a little bit more.
As far as Penn State is concerned, you're talking about a veteran offensive line. In fact, veterans across the board. And for Auburn, they're not only young, they have to start 3 true freshmen on the defensive side of the ball.
Well, when you play against Joe Paterno, you feel like you have to stop the run. They're going to run the football no matter whether you put 8 up there or whatever. And I think the key for Penn State is Stephen Pitts is back. He's healthy. They'll try to get the ball in his hands, but they also have the long ball threat in Bobby Ingram so that they can get the ball to him. Now, you have to be careful your corners. Don't slip down because you got Bobby Ingram who's caught 11 touchdown passes.
Well, speaking of slipping down, let's check a little further on the field conditions. Adrian Karsten down on the sideline with us today. Adrian, what's it like?
Ron, look at this. The field is absolutely saturated. The problem is that the water has nowhere to go. Something else to keep in mind, there is an 18-inch crown on this professional football field. That means the water has a long way to run downhill. Talked to Coach Paterno. He said in these conditions, his attention now turns, as Coach says, to Davis, Auburn's tailback. His signature is picking up speed, cutting the corners on the outside. That's something Paterno is not used to seeing in the Big Ten. But remember that crown, Davis is also going to be running downhill. I think Coach has found what he needs to slow this game down, Ron.
I think you're exactly right. Adrian, we look forward to hearing from you today. Stay dry as you can. Interestingly enough, not that many people were slipping in the warm-ups before the game, but what is happening is in the areas where there was a lot of work going on, the ground has started to be eaten up a little bit. So field conditions, we'll check on it throughout. Stephen Pitts back to receive along with Eberle as Penn State won the toss, and they said, we want the football. Gentile to kick it off. And the 1996 Outback Bowl is underway as that one goes out of bounds, and they will scrimmage from the 35-yard line.
Kickoff, out of bounds. Illegal procedure on the kicking team. Ball will be placed on the 30, first down.
So from the 35-yard line, the Nittany Lions take it over with excellent field position. And they're going to throw on first down. Looking for Ingram. It goes incomplete. So let's take a look at the starters on offense for the Nittany Lions. Wally Richardson at quarterback. He has gotten better and better as this year has progressed. Throws nearly 60% completion rate. Wide receivers, Bobby Ingram probably still the best in the country when it comes to team play and also work ethic. And the offensive line, two-time All-American Jeff Hardings at right guard leads the group up front. Scott going in motion, top of your screen. Mike Archie takes it close to the 40-yard line. And let's look at the starters defensively for the Auburn Tigers. Up front, he might be a freshman, but nose guard Jimmy Brumbaugh is the best of the down linemen. The linebackers, well, another freshman. Takeo Spikes is the leader of the linebacking corps. And in the secondary, Martavius Houston. Well, he's also a freshman, but he's turned into one of the best in that Auburn secondary. And we'll watch all those young folks today as they get their first bowl appearance as Pitts comes into the lineup, replacing Archie. Play action, Richardson to throw, and he's got his tight end. Olsemer will have the first down at the 46-yard line. Marcellus Mostella there to make the tackle.
Ron, this is like a football game when you were a kid. You went out in the backyard and played in the grass and the mud, and you had so much fun. Footing is going to be so important. Short passing game. Keith Olsemer, number 87, the tight end. It's going to be a short passing game, but you still have the threat of the bomb. The defensive backs need to keep their footing. Turnovers, I think, will determine this football game. Somebody's going to cough it up along the way.
Well, the officials calling a momentary timeout, and you can see that immediately they go and cover that football with a towel. Rain is still falling, not nearly as hard as it was about 2 hours ago. When we first got to the stadium, it was just a deluge coming down. And people from here in Tampa who are working up here in the press box say they've never seen this field this inundated as far as standing water. That's how much we've had this morning. On first down, Richardson goes on top, looking for Ingram. And the official I thought was going to throw a flag couldn't get it out of his pocket. Larry Melton with the cover, but he probably did the smart thing. He just took him down. That was going to be a touchdown.
That's why the advantage on a wet field sometimes is with the offense, because your corner doesn't know where the receiver's going. Bobby Ingram just ran a deep route, but you're going to see Larry Melton see him slip. Number 28, he's slipping, he's grabbing. I don't know if he really tried to grab him or just hit him, and Bobby Ingram fell down, but Penn State gets the call.
Defensive pass interference, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Tommy Taylor, our referee today. Pitts comes back into the lineup, so we'll see an alternating of Archie and Pitts. And from time today, Curtis Enos also as well, particularly in short yardage situations. Ingram split wide outside as they go with the running play, and Pitts has 5, has 10, counted off at 11 yards, and a Penn State first down to the 28.5-yard line as Charlie Rose came up from free safety to hit him.
And when you look at this Penn State offense, they've been balanced all year, averaged 208 yards rushing and 211 yards passing. Stephen Pitts, who's come back healthy now, has given Penn State the type of tailback they're used to playing with. Charles Rose on the tackle. Good, steady running back, Pitts.
Good job by the offensive line, just staying low and taking their man out. They get 11 on the play in the first down. They try to bring it to the boundary. Archie is hit in the backfield, and it's Spikes from that linebacking position who comes out to make first contact.
When you're running plays, Ron, in the weather like this, you want to head into the line, not run laterally as much as you possibly can because of the footing. But what Penn State tried to do is get the extra man into the short side of the field and thought they would catch Auburn sleeping. But Takeo Spikes, number 55, an outstanding freshman linebacker, made the play.
Second down and 11. Opening drive of our football game as we're about to go into 12 minutes in this opening quarter. Richardson Play action, zings the pass, has it complete. Olsen again inside the 20 and down to the 16-yard line.
Receivers know where they're going. They're at an advantage on this field. And all of a sudden now you had Kyle Brady last year, your Penn State. Keith Olsummer becomes very important in this ball game with the short underneath passing game. Makes the catch. Charles Rose on the tackle. Good drive by Penn State. Good play calling by Fran Ganner.
Olsummer, 6'4", 245, a senior out of Moscow, Pennsylvania. Milne inside the 15. They're going to spot him down at the 13 as Spikes again will make the stop for the Auburn Tigers.
Brad Milne's a big fullback, 6'3", 250, and the fullbacks have scored 13 touchdowns this year, so Joe Paterno likes his fullbacks when he gets inside the 5-yard line.
One of the things he worried about for today, and he won't have to worry about long with these kind of conditions, is he was afraid the sun would come out. It would get hot. And it has been very humid here in Tampa. But it is a very cool and pleasant day outside the rain. Pitch will go to the 8. Larry Melton comes over to make the hit for the Auburn Tigers.
And Ron, we saw a Michigan defense the other night against Texas A&M, pretty good defense, but Pitts, a slashing running back, had 164 yards on 17 carries against that defense, which didn't allow much on the ground this year.
Penn State, virtually the only team during the regular season that did run against Michigan.
They bring in 231-pound Enos right here, Curtis Enos.
Union City, Ohio. The handoff. Oh, he gets cracked by Anthony Harris at the line of scrimmage, but I think he got the first down, Mike. Looked as though he got it as he got hit. He spun inside to around the 5.5-yard line.
When we had the Rutgers game early in the year, Penn State was having problems with the running backs. There were injuries, and they brought Kurt Enos over from linebacker and taught him 6 plays before the game previous to Rutgers, then gave him another couple plays in the Rutgers game. So he's a defensive player that they've kind of adjusted to the tailback position. And
Mike, he had to be in a little bit of shock when they switched him to linebacker because he had just come from Union City, having been named Mr. Football in the state of Ohio as a running back.
Well, there's a lot of players go there as great running backs and end up as linebackers and everything else, but Curtis Enos was the big 33 most valuable player in that all-star game for Ohio, but he gives you power down here inside the 10.
Let's check with Adrian real quick. Adrian?
The period to that comment, guys, is this. Enos and Milne are going to have to be the guys to carry the mail this close to the goal line now because Whitman, their other back, bruised his thigh earlier in practice this week.
So it is a first down. First and goal, 5.5 yards away for the Nittany Lions. This drive has almost eaten up 5 minutes. Pitch to the 4, maybe the 3. Jimmy Brumbaugh, the nose tackle, puts a hit on him to stop the play. Milne with a good block on that one.
This is an Auburn defensive football team that's had its problems this year. You mentioned it, you documented it early, that they have 3 freshmen starting on this defense, and they're probably the 3 best players they have on the defensive team. Takeo Spikes, number 55, the best linebacker. His coaches say he'll be a pro linebacker in 4 years.
Jason Sload, number 15, comes into this full house backfield with the second and goal, about 3 away, and here's Enos. Hit at the 3, takes it to the 1, and that's Martavius Houston who came up and put the stopper on him, but Enos almost took it into the end zone. It's going to be 3rd and goal.
Martavius Houston is one of those freshmen we're talking about. An outstanding defensive back that runs a 4.5 40 and plays like a linebacker in the secondary. You're going to see number 25 come up and make that tackle.
Good job by Auburn. And Terry Bowden would love dearly to see this one be stopped short and then make Penn State go for a field goal. This is the 11th play on this drive. And he's going to get his wish. Milne is stopped. In fact, he may have lost a half yard. Mark Smith is down at the bottom of that pile.
It's tough to get footing down there for the offensive line, and you have your defensive line just trying to get as low as possible on that offensive line. You see that defensive line get as low as they can, and you see the Penn State line cannot get their footing. Just watch their left tackles. Left guard, you see the feet slip out. Mark Smith, number 97, in to make the play.
Brett
Ron,
Conway.
Just what you said. They wanted to hold him to a field goal.
This is huge, the way these two offenses run, Mike. Now, Penn State has just used a lot of time off the clock, but Conway is going to have to attempt the field goal, a 19-yard attempt. And he got it. So Penn State goes on the scoreboard first. 8:18 left in our opening quarter, and it's Penn State 3, Auburn. The 1996 Outback Bowl is presented by Outback Steakhouse. Have a no-worries holiday mate. Give Outback Steakhouse gift certificates. And in part for the red-hot Eclipse from Mitsubishi, the new thinking in automobiles. Now, that's a beautiful sunset in beautiful Tampa, Florida yesterday. And you have to say, for the bowl committee, they can't do anything about Mother Nature, but this is a gorgeous city. And today is not Chamber of Commerce weather, but not much you can do about that. But a great crowd on hand, multicolored, I would say, Mike, as far as the rain apparel. 13 plays, 64 yards, consuming almost 7 minutes on that drive.
And that's what they want to do, Ron. They want to run clock and run the football, not turn it over. Put pressure on Auburn's offense.
Robert Baker, his longest this year, 36 yards. You can see his average of just over 18. It'll be Baker at 5 yards deep, and he will go down on one knee. So this is the way the Auburn Tigers start on offense today. Patrick Nix goes at quarterback, playing his final college football game, and he needs good decisions today for the Tigers to win this thing. The receiving corps, they're very good, but we have an idea. Look for tight end Andy Fuller today to be a big part of the offensive plan. And up front with the offensive line right in the middle, the holler guy, Shannon Robeek, a real emotional force for the Auburn Tigers.
Everything. Just like you own this side.
Brett Beasley and Stephen Davis, the two setbacks. This is what Paterno feared most, and the fact that their quarterback can run so well, and Nix almost threw an interception on his very first throw. Penzenik was the closest guy to it. So here are the starters for Penn State on that down 4, very active group. Terry Killens, a defensive end, has 11 sacks, and he heads up that solid group. The linebackers in the middle, Gerald Filardi. He may be a walk-on, but he finished the season as the team's leading tackler. And in the secondary, cornerback Brian Miller, 5 interceptions. He leads the team in that category. Davis, first carry for him, has 5, 10, 15, finally caught just short of the 40-yard line, and Penzenik saved a touchdown, Mike Godfrey.
Got a good block from Fred Beasley, the fullback, the undersized fullback. But Stephen Davis is a tailback recruited by Pat Dye when he was the head coach there. He's a Bo Jackson type runner, big, strong, 230 pounds, 6'3", and he turns his hips a little bit and slips by tackles. That's the word. That's the report on him. Here's the block by Beasley, number 23, that seals it inside for Stephen Davis.
This running play will go absolutely nowhere. In fact, they may have lost a half yard on the play, straight ahead. To complete the thought, I started a moment ago on Patrick Nix. Joe Paterno said at our meeting yesterday, he said, you really have to defend 11 people when you play Auburn. And if you go to sleep and forget Nix, he can burn you with the run. And possibly a moment ago, maybe he should have run that ball instead of being unselfish and throwing it.
There's no doubt, Ron, he should have run the football. But with that type of play will help Stephen Davis because it's a misdirection play that will keep linebackers at home worried about Nix.
Second all-time for Patrick Nix. They roll the pocket. Taylor out front blocking. And this is just what Paterno was talking about. Instead of being trapped for a 3-yard loss, he's going to pick up a couple. Brandon Noble finally corralled him.
Even on pass rush, when you have the quarterback in sight, Terry Killens and Brandon Noble, you've got to be able to get your feet up under you because they slide out, and just any little move will throw you off.
You have to really run under control constantly.
You have to run under control in this kind of field.
Third down to Auburn. The line to make is the 49, their own 49. Penn State leads it 3-0, opening quarter. Ball tipped at the line of scrimmage, and that was Scioli. Scioli got a hand on it and tipped it into the air, and it goes incomplete, and Auburn will have to punt.
Brad Scioli, number 5, was a quarterback in high school, thus the number 5. Now he's a defensive tackle, 265 pounds. He's being double teamed in there by Shannon Robique and Jason Taylor. And what you do when you're double teamed, raise that hand and knock the football down on Patrick Nix.
Matt Hawkins will be the first of the special teams to have to witness this wet field, and it is off the side of his foot with the punt. Nowhere close to Archie, and you can see you don't get much roll on that soggy turf. Only 30 yards on the kick, nothing on the return, and Penn State will take it over at their own 28-yard line.
I thought he was going to stop right there.
The officials keeping that ball covered just as long as possible until the offense gets to the line of scrimmage, but it's just impossible to keep it dry as the rain now is falling harder here in Tampa. Richardson to throw on first down. He's got Ultimer wide open, and his big tight end dropped the ball. Martavius Houston was trying to cover, but he was 3 yards behind him.
Right down the middle of 2 deep coverage, and what that means is there's 2 safeties sitting on the hash trying to keep everything in front of them. You see number 31, Charles Rose, on one hash, number 25, Martavius Houston, on the other hash, and Penn State trying to sneak the tight end, Keith Olsummer, down the middle. Had him perfect. Well-thrown ball by Wally Richardson.
Really was. Penn State showing a trend now. They have thrown on first down 3 times already in the ball game. Freddie Scott in motion. Milne. 10. He's off and running, and the good fullback will take it to the 40-yard line of Auburn. Martavius Houston saved 6 points.
Well, Penn State's offensive line has to love this weather, because this is the kind of line they have that's going to knock people off the ball. Barry Killish, the center, number 75. You see his block. And then Brian Mills into the secondary and takes the safety to pull him down. Number 25, Martavius Houston, again to make that tackle. Penn State is winning the field position battle also.
Not just field position, but also at the point of attack, Mike, at the line of the scrimmage. You pointed it out. Their offensive line is whipping Auburn right now.
Controlling the line of scrimmage. Good.
Pass, Stone complete. That's Scott. Inside the 30 and to the 29.
And you have to compliment their play selection. You mentioned it, first down, throwing the ball, keeping Auburn off balance a little bit with the run and pass. You know, coaches in the old days used to work 4 days like this, rainy days, by taking the ball out in the bucket of water and putting it in so that the running backs would get used to a wet ball in their hands. But so far, nobody's had a problem.
Justin Williams comes in at wide receiver for Penn State for the 27. But they keep it on the ground, and a nice defensive play by Mark Smith, and he will knock him down for a couple-of-yard loss. Well, coming up on Tuesday on ESPN2, NCAA basketball, Notre Dame against Villanova. The first season in the Big East for the Fighting Irish, and this will be their toughest test so far as they take on the number 8 Wildcats, one of the conference preseason favorites. And, of course, that includes their senior star, Kerry Kittles, who is averaging 21 points a game. Notre Dame and Villanova on the Deuce. Draw play. Hitting the backfield, and again, Nate Smith this time gets penetration, and Auburn in the last 2 plays has sent Penn State in reverse, and one of the few times, as we were talking to, Penn State has not thrown on first down.
Well, the reason is that Auburn wants to take away Penn State's run. Brian Milne never gets started. Nate Smith, they do not believe Penn State can beat them throwing the football, although they've had success. Penn State is a running football team. And that's why they're trying to take away the run with the 8-man front, and that's why they're leaving some receivers open in the secondary.
Third down. Penn State needs the 20 as they scrimmage from their own 36, or from Auburn's 36. Richardson just throws this one away. Nate Smith coming through with pressure, and he put Wally Richardson on his backside just as soon as he threw the football.
And Joe Paterno now will try to pin Auburn's offense inside the 10-yard line. Good pressure by Nate Smith, 94. Good line twists by Auburn. All those defensive linemen twisting in different directions. Nate Smith comes off the block. Wally Richardson never could get set on that play.
Back deep, high pass from center. Kenny handles it, and inside the 5, and that thing is going to go dead at the 3-yard line. It will show in the paper tomorrow, only a 29-yard kick, but they have really stuck Auburn deep.
Joe Paterno is as youthful and enthusiastic as I am or I was 10 years ago.
He loves to clown around.
Some of the fun that they've been having down here during the week. Since this is playing before noon in most parts of the country, we probably should have given the early part of the show a rating. PG, Mike?
I'd say so.
From the 3. Penn State crowding the line of scrimmage. You can see Killens in that up position as the pitch goes to Davis, and he'll fight it out to the 5-yard line.
Dangerous place to pitch the football. But let's go back to the play before the punt where Penn State's pinning Auburn inside. You tell your punt returners on a day like this, if you can make the catch, that's Robert Baker, make the catch, because the ball's not going to bounce on that soft turf. So when you have a 10-yard rule, you have your punt returner on the 10-yard line. If you could make that catch, you could save about 5 yards.
And when that thing hits, it just goes completely dead. Offsides called against Penn State, and obviously Auburn will take it to get the down over and also to move the marker and line of scrimmage out to around the 8-yard line. Adrian, let's check in with you one more time.
Here's the situation. I think Auburn center's getting away with a little bit of trickery here, Ron. Watch him as he comes up over the ball. When he grabs it, there's a quick movement. He squeezes the ball. That penalty was the result of him trying to draw the guys outside.
Shannon Robeek is who Adrian is talking about as Davis gets it outside, loses the football. Tyrone Goodson was very close, and yeah, I think he got the recovery for the Auburn Tigers as there were white jerseys all around, but it was Aaron Collins who knocked it loose.
Got away with one here, Ron. You figure a turnover is going to play a big part in this ball game. Stephen Davis, number 48, you're going to see the safety come up and miss him. But Aaron Collins is going to make the tackle. Tyrone Goodson wide and alert, wide awake, makes the recovery. So Auburn could have been in real desperate trouble here.
Yep, they get it back as you see Goodson make the recovery, and with that they pick up the first down. 3-0, Penn State leads. About to go under 3 minutes left to play in his opening quarter. Counter play, and Davis breaks it big. One man to beat, and he got it. Brian Miller saved the Auburn touchdown.
You talk about his kind of game, Stephen Davis. I had Craig Hayward at the University of Pittsburgh, and we played on wet fields. He was a load because he was built to the ground. He was heavy, and he could run on these wet days. Stephen Davis can do the very same thing. Willie Anderson with a good block, and Stephen Davis and his 230 pounds this is a perfect day for this running back to show his fine talents.
28 yards on that run. It is a first down to Auburn at their own 45. Davis again. He gets right hard at the line of scrimmage, bounces outside. Has 10 yards, 12, and now 13. Aaron Aaron Collins made the tackle. And isn't it interesting? Terry Bowden wanted to throw this football on virtually every down, use 4 wide receivers, and the weather has dictated what's happening, and it's working well for him.
Well, he's put snow tires on Stephen Davis because Stephen Davis has got a grip on this turf. And again, the weight, the size, 6'3", 230 pounds, bouncing off Penn State players, getting into the secondary.
70 degrees at kickoff time as Morrow comes in replacing Davis.
Robert Baker is the receiver for Auburn that's got the big play potential.
And now a timeout called by the Auburn Tigers. With 2:14, in fact, the clock just ran another tick off there, so we'll take a break with them. 2:14 left in this opening quarter. Penn State 3-0. 3-0 our score, and the question is, with Terry Bowden's emphasis on a more wide-open offense, did the Heisman hopes of Stephen Davis get lost in the system?
He fits exactly within my system. Unfortunately, my system does not give you a real good chance to win the Heisman. I just don't want to sit there and power run the tailback 35 times a game. I think Pat Dye would have done that. And Steve, so in a way, Steve did not get quite what he was bargaining for, but I think he's going to get a first-round draft pick and a pretty healthy body. And the bottom line, that's much more important than a $250 trophy and a lot of articles.
Well, this is what he's done so far. Auburn has 68 total yards. Davis has 65 of them. First down, Auburn Tigers at the Penn State 42. Morrow is who he was looking for.
It's his pass intended for number 12, Harold Morrow.
Well, in comparison to what we were talking about, Eddie George of Ohio State, almost 26 carries a game. Stephen Davis, 16.4.
Ron, the thing that's interesting about Stephen Davis, because of his size, his speed is so effective, defensive backs take bad angles at him. They don't think he's running real fast, and he is.
3-0 Penn State. About to go under 2 minutes left in this opening quarter. Davis again, and he's going to take it for almost 5 yards. And Adrian Karsten, let's check back with you.
The guys, consider the situation would have been similar to Terry's daddy down at Florida State when William Floyd was down there. Now remember when Bobby put Heisman winner Charlie Ward into the shotgun, and Floyd couldn't get all his yards, but he did finally get his shot at the NFL, as Davis probably will. Also got a Super Bowl ring out in San Francisco.
That's right, and a very, very big contract. You're right, Adrian. Shotgun formation on 3rd down. It's Morrow in motion, and it's going to be the quarterback draw. Tried to spread him out, but the linebacker stayed at home, and he's going to be 1.5 yards short. His Herring actually comes up from free safety to tackle him.
And this is going to be an interesting call for Terry Bowden. I think he's going to run on Damian Craig and go on his short yardage offense.
And they snap this ball immediately. Damian Craig in short yardage comes in at quarterback. Right under center, there's the snap. And with the running play, and they break it with Fred Beasley. First down, Auburn at the 25.
I'm not sure Penn State even had 11 people on the field. They shocked them. They only have 10 people on the field. Here comes number 24 out. They've only got 10 on the field.
Sean Lee comes trotting out. Mike, you're exactly right.
Damian Craig, they just ran out there. They knew the play they wanted to run. Give the ball to Fred Beasley. Caught Penn State in a substitution problem.
And that's something that Auburn's done all year long. But I guess it's a tough thing to prepare for if you haven't seen it on defense.
The coach in the press box has got to be able to get that to Jerry Sandusky quickly.
Again, the I formation. Davis gets by 1, gets by 2. He's open. 15, 10, 5, and he fumbles the ball out of bounds at the 2-yard line.
He's fortunate that ball went out of bounds. They're going to mark him at about the 3, Ron, it looks like.
Sean Lee made the stop, and it's a 24-yard run by Stephen Davis. And immediately, Damian Craig comes in again for short yardage.
Stephen Davis has the ball in his inside arm, which is a problem for him. You'd like for him to switch it to that outside arm once he's free, but he keeps it on the inside. Sean Lee, number 24, you see he's got a direct hit on that ball the way he's carrying it, and he's very fortunate that ball went out of bounds.
Let me ask you something, Mike. They're going to snap this thing quickly, but that ball went out of bounds at like the half-yard line. Why isn't the line of scrimmage there?
I don't know. Do not have the answer.
Damian Craig at quarterback. Sophomore out of Pritchard with a short yardage offense for Auburn. On the 1st and goal, Davis to the right side, and a nice defensive play as he's tripped up in the backfield and knocked down for a loss.
Looked like Gerald Filardi, number 47, in on the tackle. He was a walk-on. His efforts paid off with the scholarship. He attended Penn State summer camp. Coaches got to know him and really liked him. Gave him a scholarship. He had 16 tackles in that game we had versus Rutgers.
Davis doesn't want to come out of the game. He's going to have to, as the trainers had come out to check him over, and now they've sent a substitution in, but it'll be 2nd down and goal.
Damian Craig is dangerous down here. He can run. He is fast, a 4.4 40. He's an excellent. He's like an extra running back in this lineup for Auburn.
10th play of the drive coming up. Stopped at the 1. Is the end of the first quarter. So let's take a timeout with our score. Penn State 3, Auburn nothing. Three to nothing. Let's go back and look at that play with Stephen Davis when we were watch the ball come loose and where it goes out of bounds. That ball is out of bounds just short of the pylon. But yet they spotted the ball at the 3-yard line.
Bad spot. Damian Craig ran down here. He becomes an extra running back, number 16. Let's see if Terry Bowden tries to get him the football.
Play action. Wants his tight end, and Nix falls down. Killens was there, but he lost his footing on 3rd down. It's a loss of 8.
Terry Killens stayed at home, which you want your defensive end to stay at home on that situation. He had a knee injury last year. He's had 11 sacks this year for Penn State's defense. Damian Craig just nowhere to run, footing bad down. Not a good reaction by the coach.
Hawkins to attempt a 26-yard field goal to try to tie this game at 3. Good pass, ball is down, and he missed it. Whoa, he missed it badly. And I think it was partially deflected by Brandon Noble.
Looked like a low line drive from Matt Hawkins. Missed opportunity by Auburn. Brandon Noble, number 93, is going to get his hands on this football. See how low it came off the kick of Matt Hawkins.
Penn State going to throw on 1st down again. Oh, he had him open. The ball is tipped and intercepted by Del McGee of Auburn. Freddie Scott couldn't handle it. It was too high.
Auburn in good field position again. Freddie Scott, number 31, who's been the 2nd receiver for Penn State. Good fake by Wally Richardson. Freddie Scott didn't start playing football till he's 13 years old. Comes across the middle. The ball is high. Freddie Scott just couldn't get his hands on it to bring it in. Del McGee with the interception. Freddie Scott reaching up for the ball, just goes right through his hands. That's the old tip drill right there that every coach works on. Defensive backfield coach throws the ball, tips it up the air. It worked for Del McGee.
So the Auburn Tigers get a reprieve. They missed a chip shot field goal just a moment ago, but they have it back at the Penn State 36-yard line.
complete at the 30 to Willie Gaucher.
This is an amazing number on Gaucher. That is his 59th reception this year, Mike, and he still doesn't have a touchdown. All his passes are short, but he has not gotten one into the end zone.
The reason for that, Ron, is he's the most experienced receiver. So what Patrick Nix, anytime he gets in trouble, Willie Gaucher's the guy. Anytime on 3rd and 9, 3rd and 8, he's the player they like to go to because of his experience. He's tied with Frank Sanders of the Arizona Cardinals now for the reception leadership.
That's the first completed pass for the Auburn Tigers. Morrow running hard, close to the first down. Brandon Noble will put the stop on him, but Harold Morrow close to the first down.
This is a very impressive offensive line by Auburn. Victor Riley, 6'5", 320. And Willie Anderson of Vicar High School in Mobile, 6'6", 317 pounds. So they've got some size to work with in the running game.
Mike, don't let me forget. I got a great story on Willie Anderson. I want to make sure I tell about some back problems he had and what the doctors did to help remedy his problems. 1st and 10 Auburn. Ball just outside the 25. Nix tries to set up the screen. Threw it back to Morrow. Couldn't get it. Willie was having back problems, and they wanted an MRI. They wanted to take a look at it. The doctor said Willie was too big to get in the MRI unit. Well, as you know, Auburn has one of the really fine veterinarian schools in America. They called over and asked to the bovine clinic and asked if they could use their MRI so that they could get this picture of Willie. And they said, yeah, that's fine, but it's first come, first serve. And Willie said when he got there, he had to stand in line behind a dolphin, a cow, and a llama.
And he was bigger than all of them.
Maybe the llama. I don't know about the cow. Right up in the middle, and that ball got away from Stephen. Patrick Nix. Adrian, let's check in with you.
Willie can do pretty well at the dinner table, too, Ron. The other day down in Clearwater at a contest, 14 key lime pie tarts. It's not bad.
Did he win the competition?
I think Andy Fuller was in there with him.
Yeah.
I think both of those two together.
As Coach Bowden was saying, he was proud of both of them, but he kept a close eye on them in practice. He was hoping that there were no residual effects that would keep him out of the ball game. 3rd down. The line to make is the 15. Patrick Nix, that's in the pocket, deep over the middle. Has it complete. Touchdown, Robert Baker. Ball in there. I thought 3 guys were all around it.
That Robert Baker we talked about earlier is really the most exciting receiver on this Auburn campus. A freshman, 5'11", 191. He caught 28 passes this year. He's their touchdown maker, Robert Baker. Good throw by Patrick Nix. You'd see how he kind of cradled that ball too, and make sure he could make that catch. He wasn't taking any chances. Good reception by Robert Baker.
Hawkins knocks home the extra point. With 12 minutes and 39 seconds left in our first half, the Auburn Tigers are on the scoreboard, and they lead it 7-3.
That has spirit.
6 Outback Bowl is brought to you by Chrysler, leaders in innovative design and engineering. Stephen Davis with an outstanding ball game so far. In fact, in the first quarter, of 108 total yards for Auburn, he had 92 of them. Interesting play there, Mike. It looked like that ball came straight down the line, and to put a period on that it was out of bounds before it hit the cone, but if it had hit the cone first, then that's a touchback, isn't it?
Right.
Until to kick it off. Goes out of bounds. He'll scrimmage from the 35. Well, coming up on Wednesday on ESPN, NCAA basketball, a triple header. 7 o'clock Eastern for the Big Ten. It's Iowa against Purdue. Then it's off to the ACC, Maryland against the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. And at midnight, we'll wrap it up with the Marshall Thundering Herd as they go into Reno to face off with Nevada. Triple header coming up on Wednesday.
When Auburn was able to take advantage of the first turnover, Penn State, the interception, 7th for Wally Richardson this year, Del McGee, and turn it into points.
So the last offensive possession, as Mike was talking, they turned it over. We'll see if Penn State comes out and throws on first down again, because that's what they were doing last time, and it was on first down that they turned it over. Nope, going to go with the running play. Pitch. Stop for a loss at around the 33. Adrian Karsten, let's go back to you.
Ron, I want to make a couple of points about the field condition. That touchdown pass was caught just behind me back here. 2 points have to be made about that. Auburn is getting better traction because they actually have less cleats on the bottom of their shoes. Penn State has more with those rubber soles. All the mud is clogging up. The other thought is this: it's actually drier between the hash marks as it should be. There is more drainage now to the side of the field, but right down the middle is where Davis has been getting most of his yards and where the touchdown pass is thrown.
That's a good point, Adrian, because of that, 18-degree crown on this field. Pass complete, near sideline. Milne will be pushed out of bounds, and boy, help him up. He slid all the way into that bench over there as Mostella made the tackle on him. No way to put on the brakes when you get in that mud on the sideline. Milne's going to see a lot of action today because of that injury to John Whitman, who bruised his thigh. They were hoping he would be able to go, and normally Penn State changes those guys regularly during the ball game, but not going to be able to do it today because Whitman is not available. Richardson, pressure from the backside, incomplete, and now here comes a deep flag. Terry Solomon with pressure. Offensive pass interference. And now Penn State can't believe it. They were cheering a moment ago.
Wally Richardson back to throw. Terry Solomon, the best pass rusher, has beaten Keith Conlon, number 53. Here's the push by Bobby Ingram, trying to get off of Larry Melton. It's like holding by Larry Melton, but the call goes for Auburn. Joe and Fran Ganner not very happy.
Jopa is
strong right arm there.
Yeah, he's not in a good mood over that play. 11:44 left until halftime. It's Auburn 7-3. Robert Baker, the deep man for the Auburn Tigers. Pressure, and they almost got it. Baker at the 31. He'll take it for a 3-yard return, and that's a 30-yard punt as Del McGee, number 24, came very close to blocking that kick.
Ron, if this was a horse race, you'd be looking for a mutter in the racing form, and the mutter is Stephen Davis. He's been the difference so far in this ball game.
You know, Joe Paterno knows that last call, there's nothing he can do about it, but he's working for future here is what he's doing.
Well, he's been around a long time. A lot of these referees know that and know him, and so he's working on them.
Jerry Sandusky standing there next to him.
Here's the punt. Close to a block by Del McGee, number 24.
Looked as though instead of jumping up, he should have planed.
You got to take your hands down and take the ball off the kicker's foot.
Play action. Patrick Nix is down before he threw the football. So one of two things could have happened. If they had not said he was down, it would have been intentional grounding because he didn't have anybody close, and Killens was holding on to it, but the official said his knee was down.
Terry Killens is an outstanding defensive player. Ron, after the first game, he walked into the press room and said he's dedicating the season to his mother who died of cancer on May 30th. He says, every game I play, I want to make my mom proud. He's a fine football player.
Great athlete, Mike. He was an outside linebacker. Now they put him in that defensive end, sometimes standing up position. That was a loss of 12 on the play by Auburn. Now the screen pass Whoop, did that hit the offensive lineman? Yes, that's going to be another penalty. Illegal touching will be the call on this one. And again, it's Terry Killens who is all over Patrick Nix.
Well, Terry Killens is out of Cincinnati Purcell High School and came down to Ohio State, Purdue, and Michigan State before he decided to go with Joe Paterno.
So the illegal touching, and you could hear Joe Paterno making sure that the official understood the rules, saying that's a loss of down, and he's exactly right.
Screen pass, good pressure by Jim Nelson, number 44. Ball hitting Jason Taylor right in the back of the leg. And Auburn's going backwards in this drive.
Well, Mike, look how far they have got. They've got to take the ball all the way out to the 44-yard line to pick up this first down. You notice we don't have a third down and how many because our computer doesn't go that high, I don't think.
Do not want to cause a turnover here, so they're going to run the draw.
That's Morrow. Good open field stick by Aaron Collins. I guess there'll always be a Collins at Penn State.
Oh, yeah, they've had a bunch.
The fifth brother to play there.
They had such long yardage there that on a dry day you'd have a problem getting it. Not only a wet day. Harold Morrow, number 12, with the draw play, just trying to set up the punt, get enough yardage out so that they can get the football off in the punting game. Aaron Collins making the tackle.
Well, let's see this time if Mike Archie comes up and catches this ball from Matt Hawkins. Lazy spiral, and he will field it at the 43. 39 yards in the kick. 6 on the return. Let's take a break. 10:35 at halftime. Auburn by 4. Outback Bowl Beach Day. The marching bands and cheerleaders kicking up their heels in the sand. Players from both teams relaxed and enjoyed all of the high-flying fun. 7-3, the Auburn Tigers leading. Ron Franklin along with Mike Gottfried and Adrian Karsten coming to you from Tampa Stadium in Tampa, Florida. The 1996 Outback Bowl. Here comes a blitz. Draw play right up the middle, big opening. Has 5, has 10, 15, and off and running. Kicks. Not going to get there, but it'll be first and goal at the 7-yard line for the Nittany Lions. 44 yards.
Brian Milne, the fullback, with a good lead block, and then Bobby Ingram, when they got outside, made a good block for Stephen Pitts, who played the tuba in high school. He was marched in 5 St. Patrick's Day parades in New York City, and he's marching in a parade here today.
Started his own parade. You could see Mostella coming on a blitz, and there was just nobody home.
There's nobody backside once he starts cutting back, and Charlie Rose, the one thing in this weather, you can't miss a block if you're the safety or miss the tackle, and Charles Rose missed the tackle.
Octavius Houston, number 25, bumped him out of bounds. From the 7, Penn State with Milne. This time will get it to the 5-yard line. Anthony Harris defensively for the Tigers.
Both teams have had trouble once they get inside the 10-yard line because you're restricted in the area and everybody's up close. So you've got to try to find a way to get in the end zone. Auburn couldn't do it. Penn State couldn't do it the first time.
Enos comes out of the lineup and back to the sideline. We see number 2, Mike Archie. And number 22, Brian Milne. Timeout called by the Auburn Tigers, so we'll take it with them. 9:49 left in the first half. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Outback Bowl. Auburn called a timeout, and if you thought maybe a strange place and time to do it, good reason. They had 12 men on the field. 8-4 is a very effective defense, but it'll cost you yardage every time.
It was a good call, good alert call by Takeo Spikes, the freshman linebacker.
2nd and goal. The blitz was coming. Here's Archie, and it spikes again. Takeo spikes, and you see why he was named to the first-team all-freshman SEC club.
You can gamble more down here because of the quarterback not being able to get outside, and that's what Penn State may try to do here. Blitz all the way. Good tackle by Charles Rose.
So Penn State does not go back to the huddle. They keep it at the line of scrimmage. Richardson in the end zone. It is knocked away by Del McGee. An outstanding play, and he had Ingram open. He just didn't get it away quickly enough.
They tried to catch Auburn in the goal line defense, not to substitute, and they had Bobby Ingram open in the corner, but Wally Richardson just couldn't get the ball to him quick enough. He was wide open in the corner.
You know, in both quarterbacks' defense, just before Patrick Nix had thrown that touchdown pass a moment ago, he had that one sail on him. I think that ball is getting harder and harder to grip.
Well, you can see how it comes out like a duck. Because you have a hard time gripping it. You talked about the officials holding the towel over it, but once that towel comes off, it's going to get wet.
Field goal attempt by Conway, and he's good. So we'll hold it right here. 9:14 to play until halftime. And our new score is Auburn 7 and Penn State 6.
With the wet ball, sometimes, Ron, you have to shot put it a little bit rather than just clearly throw it. And I think that's what Wally Richardson was trying to do on that last play. See, open Ingram, number 10, but it just took too long. Del McGee came over to make the deflection. Bobby Ingram knows he was wide open.
You know, Joe Paterno has been at Penn State for so long, and he's had so many great players, but he doesn't like to single out individuals and do comparison things, but you can tell when he talks about Bobby Ingram in a most affectionate way as far as he loved it, because he has been such a good work ethic guy on the practice field as well. He said he's like having a coach. He helps us evaluate cornerbacks.
It compared him to Jerry Rice.
Yes.
Here in the both practices, he said he made a couple catches. Frank Gander was telling me, the offensive coordinator said when he came off the field, he does not do that often. He says, hey, he's going to be like Jerry Rice. Well, that's putting a mouthful out there because Jerry Rice is the best.
Here's the kickoff. Bailey from the 10. And he'll take it to the 27. And let's check in again with the big guy. Adrian, what you got going on the sideline?
Ron, what I've got going is a couple of alums coming back to watch the bowl on holiday time here on New Year's Day. Kajana Carter to my left and O.J. McDuffie to my right. That run by Mr. Pitts looks vaguely familiar to someone who else used to run here at Penn State, huh?
Yeah, that was a great run by Mikey. We really should be up 14-7. We had a couple of mishaps on the goal line, but the team is playing well, and our defense is playing pretty well, so hopefully, you know, we can keep it going on.
How's the knee? What do you know?
Knee is fine. Dr. Andrews is Auburn's team physician, and I just talked to him, and he just said he could let me go full go now, so it's really up to the trainer to say how far or how fast they want to progress.
O.J., let me ask you. You said you should be up by 2 touchdowns here. The conditions, you ever have to play in anything like this? Not this bad. I've never played anything this bad, but everybody has to play on it, so you got to take advantage of every opportunity you get. Being a wide receiver, though, you kind of like these situations because you're at an advantage when the DB doesn't know where you're going, and you got a little bit of a break at this time. Coach Godfrey brought that point up earlier. The rain is supposed to stop in 15 minutes, then Auburn can maybe pick up the pace of this game again. Yeah, hopefully. We got to get our passing game together. We can't do much with this type of weather. Auburn's run that power game on. It's killing us right now. First time I've ever been between 2 All-Americans. I'm the odd man out, Ron.
Well, you were up here in the booth a while ago, Adrian. Okay, guys, thank you.
How soon he forgets.
Fuller, you know, Mike, this is something we had discussed yesterday as you look at Fuller heading back to the huddle. I really thought, now, a lot of tight ends have had big days against Penn State, the way they run their defense. I thought that probably Auburn would have looked for Fuller a little more today.
Well, they did on that play, just dropped the football. He's 6'2", about 260. He's more of a blocking tight end, but he has been a good receiver for the Auburn Tigers.
Auburn is 1 of 6 on 3rd down conversions today. Gets it complete, and there's our guy, Andy Fuller, the tight end, bumped out of bounds by Brian Miller. Going to be short of the first down, though.
Yeah, this is a punting situation for Auburn.
So Mike Archie will go back in a deep safety for the Penn State Nittany Lions. Just about the midway point of the second quarter. 8:18 left until halftime. Mike Archie. good punt under these conditions. Archie from the 28 gets the corner turn, gets one block, and is going to be down as a flag has been thrown back across the field. 37 yards in the kick. Holding against Penn State. So what should have been very good field position at the 45 is going to be considerably worse. Well, coming up tomorrow on ESPN, the College Game Day crew is back for one final bowl special. Join Chris Fowler, Craig James, and Lee Corso at 7:30 Eastern, live from Tempe, Arizona, with a recap of all today's bowl excitement. A look back at the entire college season, and of course, complete pregame coverage of the Fiesta Bowl as we count down to tomorrow's national championship game at 7:30 right here on ESPN. Rain continues to fall here in Tampa. That's a New Year's kind of day sound effect, huh? Line of scrimmage following the penalty, the 33.5-yard line for the Nittany Lions. So they lost about 12 or 13 on that. Richardson going on top, looking deep, and he caught it. And now here comes the flag in, and Bobby Ingram slowed down and came back and made the catch against Charlie Rose. And I think Rose is the one that they're flagging.
Well, Charlie Rose has really got his work cut out for him. The bad field, and you're playing against Bobby Ingram, number 10, who really can run. Has great speed. There's one-on-one. He beat him earlier in the ball game. Now Rose is in too deep coverage trying to chase. Bobby Ingram gets his hands on him. See, he can't stop. Well, the Auburn fans don't think it was pass interference, but you remember the point we made about Jopa just a while ago working the officials? He caught it, and he also got his pass interference call. That's 37 yards. 7-6, Auburn leads. We have now gone under 8 minutes until halftime. Bobby Ingram's such a talented receiver. Fran Ganner said we take for granted what he does for us. He's the best we've ever had, and does everything, and that's saying a lot because they've had some very good receivers at Penn State, but Bobby Ingram's kind of special. Well, Del McGee has got the task of trying to handle him right now. Milne in motion. He gets tagged by Tequil Spikes, and it's still going to be a gain of close to 7 yards. One other point about Bobby Ingram. Coach Paterno said yesterday, he said, you know, you could tell for so long how good he was going to be, and he said still now as a senior with everything he's accomplished in practice, that he'll just lay out for a ball. He said, I got younger players that you know, that won't do that are trying to work themselves into playing time. School record 167 receptions, over 3,000 yards. And that's Milne who will pick up the first down. Enos with a good block, number 39. Let's go back to Ingram's records and just some of the other things that he has done at Penn State. 31 TD receptions. Ron, this year he's had 11 touchdown passes. The other receivers and tight ends only have 4, so he's the long ball threat for this Penn State offense. Milne, you can hear the contact at the line of scrimmage. It was Scott Stacy, number 54, senior out of Prattville, Alabama, who made contact with him first. We talked about the offensive line of Auburn. The Penn State's got some pretty good offensive linemen, too, with some size. Andre Johnson's 300 pounds. Probably their best offensive lineman is Jeff Hardings. He's out of St. Mary's High School in Ohio, St. Henry, and played with Bobby Hoying. Told Ohio State right away he wasn't going there. Two-time All-American, and in the classroom a 3.28 GPA in marketing. Archie
makes the catch at the 12-yard line, and it's going to be a 3rd down. And Penn State's going to need about 3 yards to pick up the first down. This is where Coach Hall has made it difficult on him.
Yeah, what makes this difficult, Ron, is you got a linebacker because they've got 3 receivers. Mike Archie's going to come out of the backfield. He's working against Anthony Harris, number 53, and Anthony Harris doesn't take a very good angle, and Mike Archie makes that reception in the flat. Pretty good play call by Fran Ganner because it's a safe throw into the flat to Archie out of the backfield.
Freddie Scott hustling on the field quickly. Stephen Pitts is the deep man this time. You see Auburn creeping up. Here they come with the blitz, but they pick it up, and the pass is tipped at the line of scrimmage. They wanted Olsen to the tight end, and if he got it, I think he'd still be running.
Ron, he's wide open. I mean, this is the play you want in this situation. There's nobody there. The only person that could tackle him is the back judge. There wasn't anybody there on Keith Olsummer. Martavius Houston getting his hands up, number 25, the safety. There's nobody there if Keith Olsummer catches that football.
Well, Houston was in the area, but I'm not so sure that he didn't just lose the grip on that. Field goal attempt of almost 30 yards, and he missed it. So both kickers, because of the wet conditions, have missed chip-shot field goals now in this first half.
Well, Adrian talked about the middle of the field in the hash mark area, and sometimes you can just be so safe with your footing that you just hook one. Brett Conway to the left.
So Auburn gets a stop on what looked as though was going to be sure points for Penn State. And they continue to lead it 7-6, and we have just over 5 to play until halftime.
We figure that Penn State, Auburn, well, Stephen Davis hasn't been in the lineup here lately.
That's Morrow in motion back to the sideline. The pass is dropped. Intended for Gaucher.
What's going on?
Jim Nelson was there on the cover, but still should have hung on to that one.
Ron, if this would have been a nice day here, I think we'd have been in the 40s in the scoring because both these offenses have some tremendous offensive weapons. The field conditions have just slowed both these offenses down.
I think the consensus with the coaches was that if this game stayed teens or 20s, that it was going to be in Penn State's favor. If it was in the 30s, it would favor Auburn. That's where I know Coach Bowden wanted it, as the pass to Gaucher is tipped away by Mark Tate.
I just think it's as interesting. Something has to maybe be wrong with Stephen Davis in the ball game because of the success he had early running the football.
You would surely think so, because in that first quarter, you know, we read that he had 92 yards in that quarter alone. Nix 3 of 12, 34 yards, and the touchdown. Kevin McLeod, a sophomore out of Clarkston, Georgia, comes into the lineup. Middle linebacker blitz is on, and they don't pick it up in time as they were trying to throw the screen, and it was Jim Nelson coming up the middle, and nobody touched him.
3 and out again for the Auburn offense. Jim Nelson, number 44 in the blitz. Didn't get picked up by the Auburn offensive line, and they're punting again.
Rodney Allison, one of the offensive coaches, you could hear him say, what happened to one of our tailbacks picking up the blitz? Hawkins kick, going to go dead, and I mean dead at the 42-yard line. 39 yards on the kick. Well, coming up on Thursday on ESPN NCAA basketball, it's the Busch Atlantic 10 Conference USA Challenge. 7 o'clock Eastern, UNC Charlotte will take on Virginia Tech. And then a terrific matchup in game 2. Number 3 Memphis against number 1 UMass. Marcus Camby nursing a sore knee, battling Memphis center Lorenzen Wright.
That's Wayne Hall right now, the defensive coordinator of Auburn. I feel real good about my plan and what I'm doing, but I still have some concern defending Bobby Ingram. You may want to double team him a little bit with the corner and safety because he is the big play possibility to break this game open.
He comes to the bottom of your screen. It's Del McGee who's out there working on him. The running play, that's a nice open field tackle to take his feet out from under him. Nate Smith got out there to make the hit on Stephen Pitts.
Nate Smith really had a good first half. He's been on a couple quarterback hurries, made a couple big tackles. He's a backup for Shannon Sutto, so he's been in the game quite a bit here in the first half.
The 1996 Outback Bowl. Here's Robert Baker, and there's an answer on him, Mike. That's an ankle. So it would appear that we've seen the last of him today.
Caught the touchdown.
Milne across the 50, makes a nice move and takes it all the way down to the 40-yard line. 19 yards and a carry by Milne. Let's go down and get an injury report. Let's check in with Adrian.
The Auburn defense, or rather offense, has taken a big hit here, guys, over on the Tigers sideline. Davis has suffered potentially a mild concussion. Already have him inside the locker room. Obviously going to hold him out for the rest of the first half. They think he may be able to return for the second half. No determination's been made there just yet.
Okay, Adrian. Thank you. Milne will take it for 3. So with Baker on the sideline, you lose the outside explosiveness, and now with Stephen Davis out of the ballgame. Let's see if this is the play. The last time that Davis was in, see if he gets whacked in the head here on this play. Yep, as he was going down, he was off balance.
And that is why Terry Bowden has decided to go with the 4 wide receivers. He's lost his mutter.
It'll be Pitts. Inside the 25-yard line for another Penn State first down, a gain of 12.
You can't keep giving Penn State great field position, and that's what Auburn's offense, by misfiring and not being able to control the ball, you just keep giving Penn State the ball inside the 50-yard line. Stephen Pitts looking for a cutback. Good block by Jeff Harding. Missed tackle by Jimmy Brumball. Tackle in the secondary by Charles Rose.
No. Good heavens, what a hit. Wow. John Miska, number 45. John had been a starter at Auburn. Not a real big linebacker, particularly to play in traffic. But once Takeo Spikes came on campus, it was very difficult for him to hold on to that starting position and then get it back, Mike.
Well, Takeo Spikes, he's one of those freshmen that when he came into school, he wanted to watch extra film, wanted help from the veterans. He was just a little bit more, wanted that job a little bit more.
See the breakdown for running and passing by Penn State in this first half. About to go under 2 minutes until halftime. Pitts again. Flag comes down from the far sideline as he fights it to the 20. Anthony Harris is holding on to him there. Against Penn State.
Penn State's had a little easier time calling plays because they've had great field position. Auburn's had a little bit more of a struggle because they've been starting inside the 20-yard line, trying to find the right answers in this weather.
Penalty declined, and it brings up a 3rd down. So the situation, we have 2:04 and counting left until halftime, and it's 3rd down. The line to make just inside the 15.
Now Keith Olsummer, the tight end, number 87, has been open on 3rd down situations for Penn State. Let's see if they go to him.
Auburn showing blitz, and they stay at home. Pass, it's who he's looking for. It was Milne out of the backfield, and Richardson just overthrew it. So that means that Brett Conway will come on, and it's attempt the field goal. And Mike, where this ball is going to be placed now, let's see where they put it. That's some of the worst footing on the field, which not much you can do about it.
Talk about being open. Brian Milne is open, just couldn't get him the football. Here's Keith Olsummer, the tight end, being defended by Anthony Harris. Number 53, pretty good coverage against the tight end.
Nastasi to hold, and this ball will be placed down at the 28. 38-yard attempt. And he nails this one. So Penn State goes back on top in our ball game with 1:43 showing until halftime, 9-7.
Auburn needs to get the ball, get some kind of field position, Ron. Otherwise, Penn State's going to get it back again because they've got all 3 timeouts left.
Auburn getting some, or Penn State, I should say, getting some really good running. Milne having to play since go the entire way because of the injury to Whitman. But Milne, Pitts, and Archie have all handled these wet field conditions pretty well.
Well, their offensive line's done a nice job blocking. But remember, go back to the first quarter when when Stephen Davis was in the football game. The Auburn offensive line was controlling the line of scrimmage, and they were having success running. Harold Morrill's got to step it up. Number 12, the backup tailback.
Well, for Auburn fans, if you're a little frustrated over what's happened, here's the reason. The last 3 Auburn possessions, it has been 3 and out. See the rushing yardage, 108. But they had that. They don't have a yard rushing in the second quarter there because they had 108 in the first quarter. 5 yards deep, will not bring it out. Well, coming up, the new Dodge halftime report. Mike Tirico, Lee Corso, and Craig James from the Fiesta Bowl in Tempe, Arizona. They'll give you a breakdown of the Fiesta Bowl, conference scorecard, and also Sugar Bowl highlights. All of that coming up on the new Dodge halftime report.
See if they try to put the ball in Harold Morrill's hands, number 12. See if he can pick up the running game with Stephen Davis's injury.
Morrill used to be a fullback. He has good quickness. They've moved him to tailback. He also catches the ball very well. He's got 31 receptions this year. They'll pitch it back to him on the run, though. And he will take it out across the 25 to the 27. Filardi defensively for Penn State.
Auburn really is having success running the football because of the weather conditions. The pass is there, but I don't think you can win this game throwing the football consistently. You've got to win it running the football and then waiting for a break, trying to get field position in your kicking game being the difference.
Tigers have 1 timeout left. Penn State with 3. Was right there, and then it looked as though it squirted out from under his body. And as you can see, no signal, which means Auburn has held on to the football, and Leonard Thomas made the recovery.
It looked like it was on the handoff that the fumble occurred, and you tell your quarterbacks in this weather, you've got to treat that football like it's an egg. You've got to lay it in there. I don't know if it ever got in. It got knocked out right away on Harold Morrill.
Terry Killens, I think, got a hand in there to knock it out.
And the ball just squirting around inside all over the place, and it looks like Leonard Thomas, as you said, Ron, 60, recovers the football.
Shannon Robeek is down on one knee at the 25. And it looks as though the offense is going to suffer another blow here. Well, a glib young guy who was up in part of our meetings yesterday. He's a senior out of Denham Springs, Louisiana.
Well, they're looking for the backup center right now, James Kiger, to get him snapping some footballs over on the sideline, because all of a sudden now you've got a new center. 52 comes into the ball game. He's got an important snap here to Patrick Nix.
3rd down. The line to make is the 30. Pitch, Nick's got a man wide open, finally sees him, throws it late and gets it intercepted. I mean to tell you, Gaucher looked like the first guy out to practice. Nix did not see him. Oh my goodness.
Kim Herring with the interception, just can't get anything on the football. Running, trying to keep his traction and throwing the ball at the same time. Makes an error, throws it to Kim Herring. Good fake with just 19 seconds left on the clock. Tight ends covered, tries to go the ball, but it just becomes a pop fly out of his hand.
Gaucher had to stop and come back. The Penn State people had lost him as well.
I'd make sure if I'm Wayne Hall, I'd double team Bobby Ingram on this play.
19 seconds left until halftime. Penn State 9-7. He's going to go on top. Got a man wide open at the 10, and the catch is made by Gervais. First and goal.
Beautiful catch. Beautiful catch. Off the pass, Wally Richardson. And this is where the timeouts become available, Ron. Penn State saved all their timeouts. They've got 3 timeouts left. Wally Richardson with a very nice throw. Charles Rose is sitting on the hash just a little bit too long.
So Penn State calls a timeout, one of the 3 they had remaining. And that's 43 yards on that pass play. And that is a heck of a catch under these weather conditions.
Boy, just lays out with that catch.
You know, Gervais had the team's longest reception this year, 55 yards against Indiana. Now, Bobby Ingram had that long touchdown in our game with Rutgers, but that was a fumble. You remember that he picked up and took the distance into the end zone. Adrian Karsten, what do you have for us?
Well, it's a lack of some concentration on some of the guys at Auburn, Ron. They have this stuff called Stay Dry. They fill a plastic bag with, put the ball in the bag, keeps it dry. All the guys from Auburn were allowed to come down here on their own. Somebody forgot to bring the Stay Dry with them.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I'm not sure today it would have stayed dry anyway, Adrian.
And probably no sporting goods stores open.
Mike Archie in the backfield with Mel. Looking in the flat. That's who they went to. Archie. Touchdown, Penn State. Important one guy can be in the case of Stephen Davis, because early on Auburn was controlling the tempo and the line of scrimmage and running clock. Now they've had to go to the full wide receiver set, and on this day, that's, as you pointed out, not the thing to do. Penn State will go for a couple. The left tackle came out of his stance before the snap. Going to be procedure against Penn State.
Got to get the offense back on the field is a mistake, and you're right. Andre Johnson moving.
So with that, Penn State will send a kicking team on, and Conway will attempt the extra point. If Joe sees the replay, he'll see his left tackle did move just before the ball was snapped. He's not very happy with the situation, so the extra point will be a 25-yard attempt. And he got it.
Archie out of the backfield, working against the linebacker. Bobby Ingram taking off down the field. Bobby Ingram turning up. Mike Archie on the corner route. Good fake to Brian Milne. And Wally Richardson's had a very good first half. Ball right to Mike Archie for the touchdown. The linebacker Marcellus Mastella in coverage couldn't make the play.
Here's that two-point conversion right of your screen. Well, he is a little further out than that. Actually, it may have been Ultima who came out of his stance. He came out of his stance just prior to the snap of the ball, and that was the reason for the procedure call. 5 seconds left until the halftime. Penn State now on top, 16-7. Take it across the 35-yard line, and we are at halftime with our score: Penn State 16, Auburn 7. Now the new Dodge halftime report, and here's Mike Tirico. Mike.
Ron, Mike, Adrian, thank you. Dry off, guys. Great pictures of that first half. Great job by our crew down there. Coming up now on the new Dodge halftime report, we'll get the Fiesta Bowl picks from these two gentlemen. Check out if weather's going to be a factor in the other 5 bowl games today, and the favorite moments of Fiesta Bowl week from Lee and Craig. All coming up at halftime. The first halftime in '96 when you come back to Tempe. At the break in Tampa, Nittany Live.
If you're in high school and you want to play sports at an NCAA Division I or II school, you must be certified by the NCAA Initial Eligibility Clearinghouse. Ask your coach or guidance counselor for one of these student release forms. Fill it out and send it to the clearinghouse. Remember, if you're not certified, you can't compete as a freshman in NCAA Division I or II. For more information, call 319-337-1492.